Well, good morning from the National Weather Service here in Pocatello. My name is Carter, and this is your Southeast Idaho weather hazard briefing for Thursday, May 4th. Going to see some scattered thunderstorms develop later part of today. Those could be leading heavy precipitation, gusty winds, and small hail with plenty of lightning. And we'll be looking at a cooler, unsettled weather pattern ahead. I'll be breaking that down for you this morning. Key points we're going to focus on today. Our next system will arrive today into Friday. We're going to see some widespread rain and thunderstorms. There'll be plenty of afternoon instability to help those thunderstorms out. And we'll also see some breezy to locally gusty winds at times. Again, the thunderstorm primary hazards will center around some gusty winds and heavy rain, but you can also expect plenty of lightning, small hail with some of those more organized lands and cells of thunderstorms that develop. Rain on snow, especially at our lower and middle slopes, will lead to some increased flooding potential. We are continuing to see the flooding concerns out there, especially our river flooding and some sheet flooding concerns, and we continue to track that into the coming days. But unsettled weather will continue into early next week. We're seeing afternoon highs 40s, 50s, and 60s returning for tomorrow, but we're going to see a warming trend at least for early next week, 50s, 60s, and 70s. High pressure is then favored to return by the later part of next week as we see some drier and warmer conditions, looking maybe about the 60s, 70s, low 80s, potentially by later next week. Quick look at the satellite this morning. You can see mostly clear skies further northeast, but we have increasingly cloudy skies lifting north out of the Great Basin. And most of the thunderstorm activity overnight was confined to eastern Nevada and up into the Pacific Northwest. Didn't see anything like that, but we did have a couple of showers, and we're continuing to see some rain as this line lifts north. Again, not looking at a whole lot of impacts this morning. Much of that will be later today. Bigger picture for you, you can see this area low pressure. This will be forced further east as this stronger westerly component will be pushing the system up into our area over the coming days. But you can see plenty of moisture in the northern Pacific to tap into. We're going to get some broad upper level troughing behind this system that'll keep temperatures cool and the weather pattern unsettled as we head into the later part of May. Weather scout for the next 5 days. Main concerns will center around today and tomorrow. We're looking at widespread rain, mountain snow with some thunderstorm potential as well. Again, those thunderstorms will be most significant today, later part of today, and then into tomorrow for Friday afternoon and evening. By the weekend, we're looking at a continuation of some unsettled weather. It doesn't look as impactful as what we're going to see over the next couple days, but still keeping with some slight chances for some thunderstorms, rain, mountain snow showers, and that will continue into Monday. Looks like our next system arrives for Sunday into Monday with some more minor to moderate impacts. Watches, warnings, and advisories, and some river information. So again, we do have that flood watch, flood advisory, and flood warnings out for portions of our forecast area. Keeping an eye on those rivers. They've actually kind of stayed where they're at, if not slightly came down in some areas, but we're still seeing minor to near moderate flooding stage at some, with the most highest gauge right now still at the Portneuf River at Pocatello. High temperatures and wind gusts for today. So overall, slightly cooler than what we saw yesterday. We hit 79 in Pocatello yesterday, so about 10 degrees cooler across the board. Afternoon highs in the 60s to low 70s with some 50s in the southeast highlands. Wind gusts will be primarily about 20 to 35 miles an hour, but with those thunderstorms, could be expecting closer to about 40 to 55 miles an hour possible. Day one, this is from the SPC, so Storm Prediction Center Severe Weather Outlook. The entire area sees a chance for thunderstorms today. That extends into all of our neighboring states. And as well as from the Weather Prediction Center, we do have an excessive rainfall outlook. So this means that those storms that will develop will carry the chance for producing some very heavy rains, leading to some localized flooding concerns, especially where we have some snowpack, but certainly something to keep in mind this afternoon and evening, staying attuned to the radar. Model reflectivity says this look at one model's interpretation of how the precipitation may or may not be working out for the later part of today. But you can see that precipitation lifting north this morning. Again, just seeing some showers out there for this morning. But as we head into the afternoon hours, particularly after 11 a.m., we're going to start to see some more widespread, scattered to numerous, as we're talking about showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop. Again, storm motion will be starting in the southeast, generally south-southeast, tracking north-northwest. We're going to see storms, particularly in the mountains, south and east of the Snake Plain, develop and then work their way onto the Snake Plain. We're looking at some pretty impressive lines that could be forming. Looking at widespread gusty winds, heavy precipitation, and again small hail and plenty of lightning to go around some of these storms today. But taking you to the later part of the evening hours, again, at least thunderstorms will continue through about midnight tonight. But after that, we're just going to see some continued shower activity through the early morning hours. As the system now is going to be to our northwest, so it's originally off the California coast. Now it's to our northwest for Friday, and that's going to be keeping those chances for showers going. But this time it's going to be coming out of the southwest. So a little bit more of a typical storm direction that we have here in eastern Idaho, but keeping with the chances again for some afternoon thunderstorms, heavy rain, and gusty winds. And those chances, again, will continue through the overnight and evening hours. Looks like we could see the potential there for a line working through I-15 for the evening commute hours. But chances for unsettled weather will continue at least through early Saturday morning. Again, much of the impacts for this system will be Thursday, Friday. We'll see some residual impacts over the weekend. High temperatures and wind gusts for Friday, so noticeably cooler. Lose about another 10 degrees for most areas for your Friday, with afternoon highs in the 40s and 50s. Wind gusts for your Friday, again, will be about a little bit gusty. We're looking at gusts about 20 to 35, locally higher about 40 to 50, some of our mountain areas. And again, for the Special Storm Prediction Center for day 2, so this is for Friday, we're going to see some widespread, at least chances for thunderstorms with a lesser extent as you head into eastern Wyoming. And the Weather Prediction Center excessive rainfall outlook for tomorrow. Again, not the entire area almost like we saw today, but for tomorrow, again, we're keeping that area focused generally in western Idaho, but certainly still seeing that potential in south central and north central Idaho. Here's a look at this QPF and rain and snowfall amounts for Thursday and Friday. Try to look at about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch across the board. Given the nature of convection, there will be some isolated pockets of some higher and lower precipitation totals, but the overall trend, at least for snowfall, will be some pretty reasonable snowfall totals as you head up around the Wood River Valley, Stanley Basin area, and then as you head further east towards the Lost River Range, Copper Basin area. Could be looking at some appreciative snowfall totals, pushing about maybe 4 to 8 inches at some of the higher elevations, above 7,000 to 8,000 feet, with just some light snowfall potential across our northern mountain valleys. High temperatures and wind gusts for your Sunday, so right about where we were for Friday. Afternoon highs in the 40s, 50s, but now starting to see some 60s back in the forecast for Friday, with wind gusts about 20 to 35 miles an hour. Day 3, so again, looking at Saturday, another widespread chances for thunderstorms. This trend will continue through the weekend as we continue to see that unsettled weather pattern into early next week. High temperatures and wind gusts for your Sunday, so staying about just where we were for Saturday. Afternoon highs, 40s, 50s, and 60s, with broad wind gusts about 20 to 30 miles an hour. High temperatures on Monday and wind gusts. So we're looking at, and again, high temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Maybe some mid-60s sneaking in there in the western Magic Valley. But outside of that, should be another breezy day with gusts about 20 to 30 miles an hour, with, again, chances for some thunderstorm activity. And a look at what's to come. Again, we're starting to see some near normal to below normal temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days, so May 9th through the 13th. So that trend will at least continue into early next week, again, with precipitation outlook favored above normal for our region as conditions stay drier to our southwest. Looking ahead at 8 to 14, so I had mentioned about that upper level ridge that will be developing for the later part of next week, and we are starting to see the leaning above to likely above category starting to reach in our area as that high pressure ridge moves onshore from the Pacific. And with that, we are going to see some drier conditions look like it's going to be developing for mid-May. So we'll be keeping an eye on this, but it looks fairly unsettled weather again through much of next week, but towards the later part of that week, could start to see some warmer and drier conditions. That's about all I have for you this morning. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to send us an email, give us a call, or check out some information on our website. Have a great day.